about the vehicle. So they had to go to the dealerships and just play it by ear and hoping that they were going to be taken care of. But now we have the internet, we have so much other things we can do.
Yeah. And so, that's why we're doing this. So today, last week we talked about the, introduction of the book, which we're actually going to go, pretty much public this week. I'm kind of excited about that. We're trying to finish up a few things today. But chapter 1 is, where to look when searching for your next new car. That's very important. And in these days, the car dealership is not the only place that you can look for a car. While you might end up there eventually, you search and may lead you, to different places, including classified ads in the internet, which has taken over the car industry. Websites have revolutionized, the way companies advertise, the way people buy merchandise. It's very important not to rush into any car buying decisions.
Yeah.
And you should take a long look, at what's out there before you make up your mind. There are very many types of cars on the market today and many ways to learn about them. So that's kind of what we're going to discuss today, and it's going to start with online shopping.
Okay.
Online shopping, there's a lot of different areas there. So
Yes, there are. And a lot of times the person goes on the website or any website and they're looking for that specific vehicle for them. And they think the looks, everything, and that's only part of it. The looks, yes, it entices us, but there's more to it than just that. And so this new shopping online is good to a point.
Yeah. And there's manufacturer websites. With Nissan, there's nissanusa.com. Chevy, Ford, all those guys have their own websites, manufacturer websites, talk about specials. We'll also tell you some of that. You have to be careful on lease payments is something that we always encounter as far as, people can get this $99 lease or stuff like that. And there's a lot of other things you need to consider too before you go to the dealership.
Exactly, and there's variables that they don't give you everything. So, and to go to a trustworthy company and knowing that they're going to help you the best way that they can, and be honest with you. And the websites are great. You can get a lot of information, but it's only some of it. It's not all the information. The dealer sites, yes, they show rebates, but sometimes they don't explain the rebates.
Right.
And I like it where everybody gets the same rebate. That's what I like, knowing what I'm going to get.
Right.
And
that happens a lot today. There's other ways, and we'll explain that as we go later on in the book. So you got manufacturer websites, you got dealer websites, you have car review websites like Edmunds.com, Kelley Blue Book, stuff like that, and then of course independent, car financing websites, on interest rates, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and start with manufacturer websites.
Okay. You can go there and you can build that specific car that you want, the color, the leather, whatever you're wanting in your specific car. Sometimes they say that you can build that car.
Right.
Well, it's not feasible, not every time.
Yeah, and beginning your search, you should really start at the manufacturer website because you got to first find out what you want.
Exactly.
What appeals to your eye, and safety features are very, very important this day and age. Even though a lot of manufacturers have gone to it, they operate different ways. Everybody's got their own little way of protecting you as far as from traffic, that's in front of you, from forward emergency braking now, that's kind of standard in a lot of cars, with emergency braking in the rear too as well. The backup cameras, now that came mandatory in 2019. All cars have to have a backup camera. So, when you begin in your search and by looking at the manufacturer's websites, if you do not know anything about cars, this is the best way to learn because they're going to tell everything about their car. And then they're probably going to give you some comparisons, right?
Exactly, and I know our website does. It gives you a comparison, so you know exactly what vehicle has what to meet your needs. Some manufacturers, they hit a certain age group or whatever, and that's what you got to look for, is what the variables for you and your family. And safety features, to me is one of the best things out there.
Right. So besides features, you can determine the cost of the car. You can build your car online, like you mentioned. You'll be able to find dealers in your area if you want to take a test drive and check out the car. This is a very convenient way for the first time for car buyers to find the car they like. So you can also compare safety features, luxury features, trunk space, leg room, with other cars. Visiting various websites will give you, an idea of what it's out there and how much it will cost.
Mm-hmm. And it'll tell you if it's ever going to be, coming in where they can, where you can really put your hands on it and see one. And sometimes you can look at on the manufacturer's website and say, well, they're going to be in this area or whatever.
Right. And some of the drawbacks, that manufacturers have on their websites is, they're all geared towards selling their car, right? So they will, fill the pages with features and benefits, of the car, including graphics, testimonials, and other jargon. But, there's a lot of other useful things for the manufacturer website, but, you do have to be careful because they are trying to sell you their car.
Exactly. And customer review is very important. And when I buy anything online, first thing I do is look at what people are saying about it.
Right.
And I'll make my own judgment, but I can still see what they're saying.
Yeah.
And the issue they might be having, and then he had pertained to me.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and one of the things, and here's one of the secrets, Cheesy, that we offer, a lot of, our clientele,
Mm-hmm.
all right, and the rest of the viewing area or listening area out there is, these lease rates, okay, that are on manufacturer rates. They don't include things like destination, which is about $1,000 this day and age. Keeps going up.
But every vehicle that we have is right around that. And what's great about it, they're built in the United States.
Right.
And that helps a lot on keeping the cost down. And so that does make a difference.
Yeah, so that's one thing that you definitely want to be careful of. And then taxes, they don't include taxes. There's a lot of things that don't include fees. Dealers all have a fee, right? Dealers have a dock fee, and that dock fee has to be the same for everybody.
Yes, and a lot of people don't understand what a dock fee is. It's administration fee.
Yeah.
And what that is, consistent. Some people say, well, they think it's easy, but I've seen the girls in the office trying to keep all that in order of getting the payments where they're supposed to be sent to the right bank at this rate, and there's a lot more to it than just saying, we're going to tack this on there.
Yeah.
It's for a purpose to make sure everything is done properly.
That's right. So, even though, manufacturer websites are very important, the next thing you need, after you kind of went to all the different manufacturers, because most people spend about 12 to 13 hours, of being online or going to the dealership and researching now. Okay, more people go online and do their research than they did before.
Yes, well, our time is valuable at home, at work. We're not supposed to be doing things on work like that, but the prices of the vehicles are so expensive. We got to make sure we're making the right decision on what manufacturer, on what vehicle at this time in my life where we need to have it. So it is very valuable. And people are doing 12 hours. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
That just to sit down and to look at a vehicle and looking at the one I want.
Right.
12 hours.
Yeah, so when you're done there, now it's time to go look at the inventory, okay? And even though manufacturer websites show inventory, it might not show the inventory specifically in your area, okay? Or a dealer that's real close by, so you would want to do that. You also can go out and check out the salesperson, on a dealer's website, so you can find out who you want to work with.
Yeah, exactly, and that means a lot. I have personally sold to customers who went to our website and they looked at the staff and just read the customer reviews on our website, and that means a lot that they come in and say, hey, I saw you on your website, Eddie, the website, and so they have confidence, and that's what we're building up for the customer to have confidence in your salesperson.
Right. There's also car review websites. There's a lot of different sites like Edmunds.com. you know, different like cars.com has Dealer Rater, stuff like that. So third-party companies that, you know, other people put reviews on, you know, because they want other people's opinions. So, you know, they know, you know, what's out there, what complaints are against cars. You know, there's always going to be complaints. You're going to have to be able to see through that mud. Okay, there's a lot of people that just get mad because something doesn't go their way, and then they go onto a website and trash it. So, you know, just use, you know, don't take everything word for word, but just say, okay, in that situation, I can probably understand, and move on. Don't get consumed by that.
Exactly, and that's why I like to be able to go to a website and I can see the staff and see what they are saying about this hometown store or whatever, this mega store, and you can see, because the best people that out there selling cars can get bad reviews.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference. Bad experiences, but if you just read through all that and just say, well, in my situation, it's totally different. So I want to wade through that.
Right. And there's other independent, you know, car financing websites that would give, you know, they keep up with all the financing going on, all the different offers that manufacturers, you know, are throwing out there. These are a little bit harder to see online because you're so consumed with ads. But if you look deeply, you're going to find independent places, you know, so you can sign up for newsletters and promotional deals and other information. You'll find a dealer, you know, like insurance, you know, financial institutions, you know, something that might suit your needs, whether your credit's good or your credit's bad. You know, this site here will kind of help you, you know, find those things that you're doing. Another big one's online shopping fraud. You know, there's a lot of fraud out there, Cheesy.
Well, and that's on some of these websites are out there that are not manufactured or big organizations or anything else that are putting out and trying to get people coast into their side. And it's very, very powerful right now because people are shopping for that best price. And that sometimes gets us in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and you want to avoid, there's a lot of email scams out there. You know, you really want to work with a local dealer or, you know, if a salesman is taking interest in you and they spend time, kind of like what we're doing right now, because we do care about our shoppers, you know, our consumers, because, you know, without you, you know, we can't have a life, you know, and, you know, we don't look to rip people off. But we are wanting to make, you know, a living. There's nothing wrong with that. So, so be careful with a lot of the online fraud out there, you know, because there's a lot of auction places. You know, there's rental car companies now, okay, that are selling cars, okay. But you know as well as I know, if you buy a car, you know, from there, you know, or people rent cars, you know, they might just go out and, you know, run that thing like crazy and you'll never know. So you need to be careful of that. Not saying it's a bad thing because, you know, they do get prices a lot cheaper than sometimes the dealer itself, but just be aware, you know, be aware.
But be aware of
yeah,
that.
like smoking in it, stuff
exactly.
like that.
And there's a lot of issues. I've had a lot of customers, I mean, they loved the car, loved everything about it, but it was a used car and it did have smoke in it. And some people are allergic to it and don't want to be no part of it. But with buying from a dealer is a little bit different than the auctions and stuff. Most dealers are going to back up their car somehow.
Yeah.
A little bit of ways to help.
Right.
So
yeah, and then classified ads. You know, you have to be very careful. Even though it is a good way to get rid of your vehicle or buy a vehicle, you know, from an owner, you have no idea. There's nothing really protecting you. If you buy a car, there's no bring back guarantee, or you know, there's not. A lot of times when they sell the car, it's as is, and you walk away, and then you know next day you drive it down the road and it starts smoking. Blue smoke comes out and it blows the motor up. You're stuck with it. So
exactly,
you know, just be careful. You know, when you're buying from classifieds, and like I said, it's a good way to find a good deal if you're looking for, you know, a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 car. Because, you know, number one, the dealer is not going to try to make profit on that. You know, and I'm saying that because a lot of car dealers, we have a shelf life of cars, okay? So when you come and buy a trade-in or a used car, the shelf life is going to be from 0 miles to 100,000 miles at a reputable dealership. Okay, like a Nissan, like where we work at Townsend Nissan. You know, our general manager is very, very strict when it comes to that. If we sell a car over 100,000 miles, that means it's in really good condition. Okay,
Yeah.
and we trust it.
Well, it has to go through the shop and be going through the test to make sure, because our company's name, our insurance, everything is liable when we sell a vehicle. And that's what, when you go back to buying off a classified.
Yeah.
Then classified, they don't do that. They're not going to back it up. They're not going to do anything. Well, you will pay half of this? No.
Yeah.
You bought it as is.
That's right.
Well, as a company, we try to help. Not every time we can, but 99% of the time, I bet we're going to be able to do something.
Right. And, you know, so make sure when you buy a car from a private individual, like a classifieds ad, if it's not a dealer, make sure you take a test drive. Okay, just don't take the guy's word or lady's word for it. Okay, make sure you test drive, asking questions. You know, the upkeep. Ask for receipts about oil changes, stuff like that. You know, find out how much is owed on the car, and this is where some people can get stuck. Okay, because we at dealers at a dealership have had this problem too, because if they owe money or they have a lien against it, right, you can be stuck with the lien or taxes.
You know, taxes. Oh yeah,
I think you had one just recently.
Yes, and the tax issue, and it's going to come back. So you got to make sure when you buy from an individual, something like that, that the title is clean, and you're going to make sure the Carfax to me is very important.
Right, make them pull a Carfax.
Yeah,
It's $40.
It's going to cost them a little bit, but if they want to sell that vehicle at a great price, they need to show that to the customer, because if there's been wrecks, they need to know about it.
Right, and make sure the VIN number matches up with the car too, and that's where the Carfax comes in play, because you know, be careful for salvage title cars. Okay, there's a lot of dealers where their car looks awesome. We got a couple in town. I'm not going to mention any names, but they got a couple in town that's all they sell. Right, so if Florida or Texas or somebody has a big hurricane, like Katrina affected the car business, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
And cars got hail damage, you know, flood damage, and then all of a sudden they're put back on the market, and you know, months later they're having electrical problems. You know, the car has an odor to it. You know, they made it look good on the outside, but you know, internally it wasn't good.
It's going to come out. It always does.
So then when you buy from a dealership, you know, you want to visit a dealership, be prepared, you know, for the salesman who will try to walk up like us.
Yes.
Okay, it is our job to walk up and ask you, you know,
we try not to pounce on you.
we don't want to pounce on you, but at the same time, you know, if we stay back too long, you know, somebody else might get it, or, you know, you just like, well, he don't have any interest in me, I'm going to drive off. And so we try to, you know, allow you to get, you know, 3 or 4 seconds getting out of your car. And then we try not to scare you when we come up, even though it does happen. But just know that somebody's going to come out. Not all salespeople are pushy. If you get a great presentation from a salesperson who knows what they're doing, knows their products and all the safety features, all that stuff, it's going to be a much better experience. So let the salesperson do his job.
Exactly. But be prepared when you get there, because they're going to ask you what your needs are, how you daily drive it, just safety features that you're needing. So there's a few questions that we ask to build the vehicle in our minds for them.
That's right.
And so the price range, we're going to ask you what you're thinking about there.
Right.
And we always, it's always going to make you test drive.
Yeah.
And that is, and some people say, I don't have to. Well, we don't buy a pair of shoes and say, I want these shoes. No, there's no way.
You don't take your shoes up to the counter
and
you say, hey, I want these. Did you try them on? You say no?
I will try them on. And even some restaurants, if I don't know about their food, I want to try it, I'll ask them for a small taste.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of person that I want to make sure this is for me. And you know that they could be 2 cars built the same day, same place, same people, and they don't drive alike.
Yes.
They just don't. Oh, my grandma's got one of those. Well, that's good. But yours might not drive like
That's
that.
right.
So we have to look at that, and then we're going to be there to answer any question.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you need, because there's questions that you have, we have no idea. So,
Yeah, and also to bring somebody with you. You know, if you're not the only decision maker, bring the other person, bring your spouse, bring a friend, you know, whoever helps you make those decisions. That way you don't feel like you're getting attacked. Sometimes you're by yourself, you feel, you know, you don't have the confidence maybe when you're doing it. Maybe you just still don't know what you want, but you want to get it over with.
well,
You know, bring somebody with you.
well, you feel like you're intimidated
Yeah.
because we are salespeople, and they're out to get me, and we're not that way.
We're going to ask for the sale.
We're going to ask you. I mean, because we know that you spent the 12 hours
Yeah.
online
At least.
to see exactly, at least. You're going to go to 1.5 dealerships to look for a vehicle. We're going to ask you to drive the vehicle. We're going to ask you all these questions, and then we're going to ask you to buy. And that's anything. If you go to a car, look, shoes. You go to a shoe store, and they're going to ask you, "You want these? I'll take them up to the counter for you."
Have you ever been into a vitamin store?
I have not. Do I look like it?
I'm going to tell you, car people don't put pressure on like vitamin stores do.
Really?
Oh man, it's high pressure. I mean, they because they're professional. A lot of people don't know what they want. They have the same issues, so they try to, you know, because they know their products, and that's what they're going to push on. So, you know what you want first. Know about what your finances. Here's the biggest, other than financing, it has part to do with financing. Know your credit. We'll talk a lot about that later because we got to keep moving along. But you know, credit is tied to a lot of things, and we'll talk about that in another episode. And then, you know, have a price in mind, okay, about what you want to spend. There's not a lot of markup in cars anymore like there used to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you go from our trim levels go like this on Nissans. They go S, SV, SR, somewhere in there, SL, and Platinum. Okay? Now, Platinums, they have more markup, but they're more expensive car.
Yes, you have a little bit of everything in it.
So, you know, so have a price in mind. Be open to test drive a few cars. There's nothing wrong with that. Be friendly but firm about what you're looking for. So know what you're looking for. If you spent those hours, try not to confuse yourself during those 12 hours. You know, make a checklist like pros and cons and stuff like that. And then ask about financing, you know, ask about specials and sales that are going on. And of course, if you turn on the TV, you'll see every special in the universe on TV.
Yes, exactly. But when you come to the dealership and we ask for the sale, it's because we feel confident in our product.
Right.
We feel confident that we have answered all your questions, and we feel like we owe that to you to go to that next step.
Right.
And because you wouldn't have took all this time and effort to do it. It might not be today. I mean, we're going to ask you for today, but it might be. I've had a lot of feedbacks, Aaron. And I feel that way. They come back to me, and they ask for me, and it's because you take that extra time, you answer all the questions, you communicate with them properly, and they will come back. And I've had so many referrals this past year. It's been phenomenal. I love giving referrals.
Right. You know, trade-in is a big one too. And, you know, with trade-in, you need to know about roughly what your trade-in's worth. You know, and don't always use clean, okay? Because there's not a dealer in the country that's going to use clean book, okay? There's a difference between clean book, you know, and rough book, okay? So a lot of people, you know, if you go to sites, certain sites, not going to mention any names because I don't want any problems, that are third-party sites that appraise cars and tell you what your car is worth. Of course, they're going to push the more expensive one on you, but dealers are not going to do that. So be prepared for that. And, you know, because they're not trying to hurt your feelings. It's just there's no car that's going to be extra clean. You know, even if it's 20, you know, years old and it don't have a piece of dirt on the back seat, you know, the car is still older. Okay, it's still 20 years old or whatever, however many. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, you know, the dealer is going to walk around the car with you. You know, I've seen other even car guys saying, don't fall for it. No, we want to know what's going on. So, because it might look major, but maybe it was just a small fender bender. We need to know, so because we're going to check the Carfax.
And I will ask, has this car ever been in a wreck?
Yep.
And when we look at a car with Aaron on a trade-in, some people think they're going to get that top dollar, and we're trying to.
Right.
I mean, the dealer really is, because if that car is worth that kind of money, they'll pay it.
Right.
But we don't pay for sentimental.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you have a great car. You've had it, that was your first car or whatever.
Yeah, we're not attached to it.
We're not. And
Like you are.
Yeah, exactly. We're not attached. And when we give you a number, we're not to do that to embarrass you. We're not there to make you look bad with it. It's just what we have to go by on a dealership. It's like going to an auction,
Right.
and buying a vehicle wholesale. And that's how we do it. So we're not out to hurt anybody. It's just, but we got to keep the lights on. I'm not going to lie to you about that. We got to keep the lights on. But the fair price is good.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we're going to wrap it up here in the next 3 minutes. But word of mouth, is the best type of advertising for any business. Okay. So, if your neighbor has a Nissan, for example, we're using Nissan because we're the Nissan guys, and that's what we do. But ask, if your neighbor's got a Rogue or an Altima or a Sentra or a Pathfinder sitting in the driveway in the garage, go ask them. It's okay to ask your neighbor, how they like their car, okay? Because those are people driving cars, right? Those are the people that are going to know, and they might have bought it from the dealership that you're going to, and then you might ask, hey, who was your salesperson? Did you have a good experience? So, that's why it's very important for all of us to have a great, treat everybody the same, because that's the best type of advertising for anybody, especially salespeople and dealerships. It saves them money.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was talking about, referrals.
Yeah.
And if you have a neighbor or have a friend, somebody you go to church with, or something, say, hey, where did you get your car at?
Yeah.
And they'll let you know, I guarantee it.
Yep.
If it's good, bad, or indifferent. And that's what helps us and hurts us.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We want our customers to have the best experience that they can have.
Yeah. And then auctions, and wrapping it up, auctions, or you got to be careful with that. So you can get great deals, but today, okay, and we're in 2019, auctions are more expensive, okay, because you've got hundreds and thousands of dealers competing for the same vehicle. So be careful with that. Know what you're bidding on. Go out there and check it out before you bid on it. This online stuff's scary, but you just gotta be prepared. Check Carfaxes and stuff like that. But if I was you and your and I've been there. I know, Cheesy, you have bought my wife's your daughter's first car.
Yeah. At an auction.
Yeah, in an auction. So, all right. So that's going to wrap that up. For more on chapter 1, make sure you go to our book. And if you haven't downloaded our book, it's available to the public. Okay, it's not just our customers. You go to www.nissanguys.com and you'll see that ebook, and there's a lot of good things coming our way. And Cheesy, what do you want to say? You got 10 seconds.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, and we look for the next chapter.
That's right. So we'll go ahead and end this podcast, and we hope you have a great day. We're the Nissan guys.
Nissan guys.
Look at that. Finished it on time and everything. All right, let's see. Let me stop this one, and then we'll go one more, and then we'll be done. And we got to shoot our video.